To do the spoiler, the first thing we need to do is hinge it. And I'm going to be using tape hinges. It's basically a type of clear tape. This is, I believe, 12mm hinge tape. So what I'm going to be doing is making one long strip across the top. Then I'm going to fold it back, and I'm going to make smaller connection pieces that are going to actually touch through. So the bottom piece is going to stick to the top piece. Now, if you'll notice, I've left a bit of a gap here, and that's just the shape of this wood. It's, as you can see, it's closer here and closer here because there's a bit of a bow in that edge there. I've left a little space here as well, and likewise to either side, but pretty much evened it up. There's a little more space at the front because that's where I want the hinges to contact. Now this is going to be the hard part. See, right now you should be able to see the difference between this space here and the rest of the hinge. You can see that it's got some backing there. So I'm just going to have to just do a few of those along the way, and the hard part can be with this tape, finding your starting point again. There we go. Well, I had it. There we go. Trying to keep that from folding back on itself. Okay, so one hinge process complete. Just to give you kind of a close-up if we can here. Gone all the way across here with the tape, and then I have jointed in between here small sections of tape at every opening. So now it's time to move forward. So instead of using CA on these hooks, I'm going to go ahead and use a little bit of 5-minute epoxy on them. And you want these hooks. Okay, it's interesting that they make the big end the outside. I need to wipe this off. Okay. Make sure the hooks are pointing in the correct direction. You want to be able to have a rubber band stretch from this hook to the hook down here inside the wing. Okay, now I am setting up the servo. I do not have a servo tray to mount this, so I'm going to need to set up some wooden blocks. So let's first test the servo. And we want our all the way one direction to be vertical. Okay, so something like that. That should be our all the way in one direction, and then down is going to be our stowed. Now we'll tinker with endpoints to keep it from going all the way down like that and tearing itself out. But actually we might want to go ahead and give it one more spline over. There we go. There we go. We'll still need to make some adjustments, but that's more or less where we want things. Now, in case that isn't clear, this servo is going to be sitting in here, and it's going to be elevated on a little block, which they didn't provide for us, so you're going to need to get some scrap wood out. And this arm is there's going to be a carbon fiber pad. Give us this little piece here. And that's going to get glued on here. That will provide a surface for this servo arm to rub against and push this open from the closed position. So this needs to be anchored in here at a height of about that. So I'm going to go ahead and gather up some scrap, so I'm ready to go on that. And I will discuss the details with you as I assemble it. Okay, so this plywood here is right about the correct thickness to have this be screwed down to a surface. So if I were to take this block and The plywood would provide an anchor point for the screw on either side. That would be about perfect. Now, this block also a little big for there, so I'm going to need to cut that down just a little bit. Not quite. Okay, let's see if that fits now. Okay, perfect. So now I need to cut 2 pieces of that plywood long enough to sit on either side of the servo, but not so wide that they're going to exceed the size of this block. And that looked like about 1/8 of an inch, or 3/16. Just marking this off. Okay, sanding block. Pause up for a second. Okay, this is what I've got. The block that I was going to use is a little too thick. It was going to raise the servo a little too high. It wouldn't have let the spoiler close completely. So I'm just waiting for this to dry, and then I'll put in a couple of little pilot holes for the screws, and I'll anchor down the servo. And then I'll glue it in place. Now, I think what I'm also going to do is, since this can swing further down, I'm going to enlarge that slot so that this servo arm can pass through in the event that the getting it tuned properly, I have issues. crank down on these. I just want to get them snug. I don't want to split the wood. There we go. So here is one custom-made servo block. Go ahead and empty these servo accessories into this box. Okay, so now okay, unscrew that, take it off for a minute. I need to make a notch there for one of the wing spars, or not spars, one of the ribs. I need to make sure this can move far enough forward. I think I may have had a, there we go. But there was a little glue going on. Let me mark this. I'm going to go ahead and pause. So that's done. So now I just need to glue this down. And for that, I'm going to use epoxy. And I've gotten the wire a little wound there so that I can keep that out of the way, shorten it up a little bit. So the 5-minute epoxy allows me to position this just right so that that arm is going to make this perpendicular at its max throw. So now I just need to leave that. And when that's dry, I can pull this wire through the front end of the hole ahead of the horn, basically around the front of the servo there. And because I've shortened it a little, that means that it will plug in as I wanted and have a minimum amount of wire inside the fuselage.